Okay, so thank you for your attention and your participation to this town hall. We are very proud to announce the IHE Plugathon. It's a new initiative. In reality, it started during the Venice Connectathon, but this year in Trieste is completely rethinking our build. So I present the team. You see here Arianna. Arianna is the Connectathon manager. So you find her email at the end of the slide deck. And so if you need any information about the Connectathon, the Plugathon, feel free to contact her. Then we have also Mauro Zanardini. Mauro Zanardini is the CTO of the consortium Arsenàl and is the Plugathon technical coordinator. So Mauro is in charge to support you in any technical question that you have for the Plugathon. So what is the Plugathon or the IHE Plugathon? The IHE Plugathon is part of the Connectathon week. During the Connectathon week, we have the traditional Connectathon, IHE Connectathon. The IHE Connectathon, I believe that everybody knows, it's a very formal testing with the goal of the vendor attendance to test their solution. And at the end of the Connectathon, if they pass all the tests validated by the monitors, they appear in the Connectathon result matrix website. From this Connectathon,
Claudio,
yep.
Claudio, are you presenting something? I don't see any presentation.
Yeah, we can see it. So I can see the presentation.
Oh, okay. That's odd. Sorry about that then.
Yeah. Are other ones that have problem with the sharing of the presentation of the slide deck? Oh. Okay. So, okay, great. Thanks. And during the Connectathon, the CS Connectathon, it is also provided to the company that have passed the testing, the Connectathon seal. We will talk about the Connectathon seal in the next weeks on the social media to explain in deep what is the added value of the Connectathon seal. So during the Connectathon, the IHE Connectathon week, there is also the experience days. The experience days this year will be from Monday to Tuesday. And the experience days are typical meetings in which there is a typical workshop about IHE and other important topics about interoperability. Now we have introduced this year also the IHE Plugathon. IHE Plugathon is a testing event that is not so formal like the Connectathon, but is a mixture of workshop plus testing opportunity. So I go in deep on this point. And the IHE Plugathon is organized in tracks, and each tracks have a topic. So the idea is to give the opportunity to developers and the specialists of the track to work together to share their experience in order to provide more better knowledge about these topics. This is the testing continuum, and this is our map, our business case on for IHE in the testing. So you see that in the testing continuum, in the central part, there is the IHE Connectathon. There is also the IHE Sharathon. There are also projectathons and also the conformity assessment. This is the formal part of the testing approach of IHE. You see that in the left side, there is the events, the testing events that are, we call enablers. The enablers are, for example, the HL7 FHIR Connectathon, a very interesting event organized by HL7. in which there is some testing and some workshop. And the goal of this Connectathon is to increase the knowledge of the FHIR implementation. And so there is also another type of enabler that is more focused on IHE approach, that we call IHE Plugathon. And the IHE Plugathon has the goal to improve the quality of our products. And you know that our products from the specs side are the technical frameworks with the profiles. And so this is also very important to accelerate the development of the right profiles. We see in the last year an acceleration of the healthcare interoperability standards, because a new opportunity, like for example HL7 FHIR, are coming more popular, increasing the speed. Of course, as IHE, we want to take care of this new requirement of the market, and we also to accelerate our profile life cycle that is sometimes it seems too slow on this point. So the Plugathon, as I said, the IHE Plugathon are divided in tracks, and the tracks are structured to increase their value in the testing continuum process, as I mentioned before. And the sessions are structured in two different parts, educational and testing section. It's very important that the goal and the result of evaluation of these tracks will be shared with the IHE community in order to increase the quality of the specs or all the testing part, because in some cases we will test very new profiles that are not yet mature for the testing during the Connectathon, and we want to have this testing in a more friendly and, of course, uninformal way. So the two parts are educational. That educational session will be held by domain expert, and also in this session there is the possibility to have a direct comparison and to debate with this expert and with the other companies. You know that normally the attendance to the Connectathon is very focused on the companies. Probably is the bigger events in which the major part of the attendance are coming from the companies. And so it's important to share together some experiences, some thoughts, some doubts about some profiles or some approach. During the testing section, that the educational session will be in classrooms, of course, and the testing session will be performed in the Connectathon floor. So this year we have the Connectathon floor that will be divided in two parts: the Connectathon floor part and a separate part that is the Plugathon floor, on which during the week the different tracks will test the topics that they want to explore. So what is the benefit that we are expect from this new type of approach in the testing? First of all, we want to increase the learning curve of some profiles. We see that some new profiles, especially new profiles in radiology, coming from radiology reporting, for example, or other profiles in ITI domain or PCC that are based on HL7 FHIR, need more educational part to the vendors. The focus is to speed up this adoption of these profiles and to offer the capabilities to the company to starting from the Plugathon this year, and then next year, on the year after, testing on the Connectathon floor this type of profiles. For example, this year there are new profiles is related, for example, to the IPS. That is the new profile about the sharing of the IPS documents and entities, or other profiles that are based in radiology, that are based on FHIRcast. that is a very new technique for the synchronization of different applications. So this hands-on testing gives the opportunity to the developers and to the expert of these profiles to increase their knowledge. It's a business opportunity for everybody because it's clear that we expect to have more than 1,000 attendants from different parts of Europe, US, and this year, for the first time, we have some delegation from the Africa. It's very important. We will have a delegation from Senegal, for example, that will be on the Connectathon floor and starting testing for the first time some implementation in the African market. So there is a very good opportunity for networking during the Connectathon. But I believe that the great part of you knows this and expect that this added value that we have lost during the COVID age is the main part of the Connectathon. Stay 1 week discussing, thinking about interoperability. It's very, very important. So this is the template of the track. It's important that some tracks are open to registration, other tracks are private tracks, and so are not open to the registration. But if someone is interested also in these particular tracks I explained after, feel free to contact us in order to find a solution, also to give the opportunity to someone that is very interested in this track to attend at some parts of these tracks. What is the expected output? The expected output is, for example, to produce best practice like white papers, change proposal, or some positioning paper for new profiles, because you know that in the loop of the life cycle of the profiles, the input from the market and the user is a key point for developing a very good profile. And so we want to speed up the process that produces the profiles, putting the profile in trial implementation, and then move the profiles from trial implementation for consolidated and final version. So the idea is to use these Plugathon tracks as an opportunity also to collect some feedbacks that are after the Plugathon move to the development committees, like, for example, ITI committee, radiology committee, or PCC committee. This is the idea that we have for the Plugathons. So what are the tracks this year? This year we have 4 different tracks. One is based on IHE profiles, based on HL7 FHIR. After Mauro Zanardini will explain some details about this track, and also the other track that is European Health Data Space. That is very important because for the European market is a very milestone in the interoperability of at the level of the European Union. So I believe that the first milestone was the EPSOS project. I believe that this is the second milestone for the cross-border interoperability of healthcare data. Then we have other 2 tracks. One is based on AI profiles. There is a working group in IHE-Europe that are working on these topics. And the last track is a very strange track because it's not related to healthcare, but is related to energy. It's a track, this is a private Plugathon. It's a track in which some countries and vendors will test a sort of EPSOS of energy. You know that the interoperability of energy data are very important. And so we hosted this track that is completely different from our traditional healthcare. Sorry. So I leave the floor now to Mauro that give you some details on these 2 tracks. Mauro?
Thank you, Claudio, and good afternoon, everybody. So, as Claudio said, the main goal of the IHE profile based on HL7 FHIR track will be to identify a sort of a set of training session that will be focused on IHE profiles that are based on HL7 FHIR standard. You need to see that starting from 2017, IHE has worked on a lot of profiles that are based on FHIR standard. Probably not so many of you has already know, but we have inside different domains something like 40 profiles that are based on HL7 FHIR, and so we want to disseminate what the different domain has done during the last years in order to share some thoughts about this technology and how IHE can work in order to provide some use case based solution that relies on this standard. That's a really important topic, because IHE works defining use cases and try to solve specific use cases. So our main interest will be to identify if all of those profiles has interest inside the user community and the vendors community. So one of our primary goal for this track will be share thoughts between different people, identify if the profiles are in the right way, if they has some bugs that can be fixed, if they are really solving some vendors or user communities problem. So that will be one of the most important steps that we want to follow into this track. Second part will be we will try to share some national project experiences that are developed using IHE profiles based on the FHIR standard. This will allow us to show also that those profiles are used in the real world, that those profiles are working, and that we can also identify maybe some other use cases that will be addressed in the future by those national European projects in order to address some big use cases. Finally, clearly, we will try to address maybe some lack in understanding of our IHE profiles. And so we will try to train vendors in how to implement IHE profile based on HL7 FHIR standard. We will have some hands-on sessions in which we will explain how to understand the IHE profiling, how to use IHE simulators, validators, in order to make the vendors' activities more easy. And so you will have the great opportunity to interact with some of the most important standard tech specialists in the world that will help you in understanding how to create interoperability framework inside your software. So you will not have, we will not define probably some strict testing patterns. Probably we will provide some guidelines, some steps that can be done, but we will want just to identify how to create softwares that will meet the requirement of the IHE profiles. So that will be mainly the primary focus of the HL7 FHIR track. Claudio, you can move. Okay. The second track will be focused on the European health data space. As you probably know, the European health data space is a unique initiative created at European level and promoted by the European Commission that is aimed to create unique health ecosystem for data, not only for actually the definition of the data, but also in how to manage data inside the healthcare world. Inside this initiative, there is also the idea to create a common layer of interoperability. So what will be called, I think, EHR exchange format. So a sort of a set of guidelines that will be used from all the vendors that want to interact with the EHDS system. So our primary goal for this track will be share experiences from different countries that are preparing their system in order to interact with this European world. And the second part will be focused on understanding which will be the EHR exchange format and which are the next step for the European Commission in identifying standards in order to interact with the European health data space. What we are expecting from this track, we want to interact with the entire community that is interested in accessing data to the European level. So the primary goal of the European health data space is to create these guidelines for the primary access of data, so for care, but also for secondary data usage. So I think that we can reach probably more interest for this track from companies that are interested in accessing data for secondary data usage, because the primary goal of the European health data space is provide the capability to access fine-grained data for the patient and for different use cases. So we want to create this community and share experiences, share expertise in implementing this standard, and also in implementing projects at national level that can create the first step to go through the revolution that will be the European health data space.
Thank you, Mauro. Then we move to the IE Interest Group for Imaging, AGI track. The track coordinator is Mark Kammer from Visus. This is a working group that is acting in the last year, probably it's 1 year old, this working group in IHE-Europe, and is devoted to the application of AI in the workflow. And so the goal is in which way we can move from a prototype approach of AI to a real-world scenario with real use cases, and using, of course, the IHE profile approach. This track has also a very interesting add-on part, the testing part, because during this week, we test the actual profiles based on AI, but in a different way to check if we need to improve this profile and to have an idea if we need some new profiles to cover all the needs of the implementation of AI in real-world scenario. Okay, so it's important to underline one point that the Plugathon is completely different from a Connectathon as a testing event. So during the Connectathon, you find the monitors on the floor that validate your test. In this case, you will find on the floor some people that are not monitored, but are mentors, are experts that support you during the testing. And so this is very important that you don't find only the validators, simulator, Gazelle in some cases, to be used during the Plugathon testing, but you will have also the support from some expert that could respond to your question, your doubts, or could you make some suggestion in the usage of the tools or in the use of the messaging and so on. So what is the fees for the participation of the Plugathon? There are three different types of participation to the Plugathon. One is the complete. So you have educational activities plus the testing session. And the fee for this type of participation is 65 euros per person. The fees are not for system like in the Connectathon, but the fees are for person, because we use the fee for person to cover the cost that we have during the event on the participation. So there is also someone that is interested to attending for the educational part, but are not a vendor or is not interested in the testing part. And so in this case, the fee is 250 euros. And there is also the possibility to attend by remotely, because it's clear that it could be very useful to attend in person, and this is the added value of the Connectathon week. But if you have some troubles, some overlappings, or you want to attend from a very far place, in this case, there is also the possibility to attend in remote, and the fee is lower. You can pay this fee using an Eventbrite site. In the Eventbrite site, you can pay by the electronic payment methods implemented by Eventbrite, credit cards, PayPal, and so on. Or if you need to receive an invoice and you want to pay by a bank transfer, in this case, during the registration, you ask bank transfer and invoice, and we provide you the invoice and the coordinates of our bank for the bank transfer. So this is the timeline. We're starting from today with the presentation of the Plugathon, the IHE Plugathon during this town hall. Then we will open next week the registration for the open tracks. Open tracks, you find the open tracks registration on Eventbrite. You will receive a registration link. We promote this registration on LinkedIn. We send email using our newsletter, news pools, and so on. Traditional communication by IHE-Europe. And then the deadline for registration and payment will be the end of April. Last but not least, there is also another way to participate to the Plugathon. You could be a main sponsor of the Plugathon. So if you want to sponsor the Plugathon, the IHE Plugathon, you could do. You know that during the Connectathon week, there is the opportunity to sponsor the Connectathon week. But in this case, there are some restrictions to the eligibility to be a sponsor of the Connectathon week, because, for example, a company that attending to the Connectathon floor for testing cannot be a sponsor of the Connectathon week for the Connectathon floor. There is also the possibility to be a sponsor for the Experience Day. It has been promoted, or it will be promoted in the next weeks, the sponsorship for the Experience Day. And of course, it's also possible to be a sponsor for the IHE-Europe Plugathon. In this case, there are two different packages for the companies that are interested, or not only the company, for the entities that are interested in to be a sponsor of the IHE-Europe Plugathon. You see the differences between the two different packages, the gold package and the silver package. The difference is some communication exposure for the logo, for example, and also the opportunity to have a speech in the educational session. So if a company wants to give his experience or by yourself of using your testimonial for this experience that is related to the track, you can do this part. In the package, you find also included some free tickets from admission that you can use, for example, for some important customers that you want to invite to the Plugathon. You find all the scheduling of the events during the Connectathon week in the IHE-Europe website, and we will update this schedule in order to have a complete picture of the program. And the program is very interesting and very big program this year for the IHE Connectathon week. So you find here the price. If you are interested in sponsor the IHE Plugathon, you can contact directly Arianna. You see here her email in order to have all the information for the sponsorships. So I have finished my presentation, and I believe that it's important to open the discussion. So if you have some question, doubts, or you need some clarification, feel free to ask here. You can do by yourself and raising hands and asking directly, or if you prefer, you can use the chat of the town hall. Thank you for your patience for our presentation, first of all. I open the chat. If someone wants to put in the chat some information, you find in the chat, we have shared the slide deck of this presentation.
Maybe a question to Mauro, then do you have already specific or certain FHIR profiles or IHE profiles which are based on FHIR in mind for the Plugathon?
Yeah, we have identified, I think, 7 profiles, if I remember correctly. And let me just take the list. Yeah, we have MECAM, MCSD, MXDE, MPFS, IPS, MXDX, SVCM, DSABM, MHD, DSABM, and that's it. So 10 profiles, I think. So something related to document sharing, exchanging patient data, accessing data in a fine-grained manner, sharing the patient summary data, accessing data for secondary data usage, notification, management of coding, and that's it. Maybe those are the use cases at NI level.
So in principle, of course, they can also be tested at the Connectathon itself, at least some of them. The participation in the Plugathon is then mostly also relevant for vendors or implementers which feel that they are not yet ready with the implementation to go to the Connectathon, but still want to learn and access if they are really on the right track with the implementation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you will find some profiles that are well tested. So such as, for example, MHD, so the sharing document. In that case, we want just to highlight the relevance of this profile. We have some other profiles, like, for example, DSABM, that was just been written, I think, one month ago. We have published it 1 month ago. So we need feedback from this, and this profile probably is not ready for the Connectathon. So we want to collect feedback from this, and but we see really the relevance of the use case. And there are some other profiles that has been written in the last 2-3 years that has not big participation to the Connectathon. So we want to identify it. This is related to a problem in the use case that the profile wants to solve, or a problem in the technical specification, or maybe if it's just a problem of understanding of the use case and the potential usage of the profile itself.
Mm-hmm. And it would even be an opportunity for vendors which would like to test it at the Connectathon, but there's not sufficient participation, to get at least via the Plugathon some feedback on the implementation.
Right, exactly.
Yes, this is a very important point, because in some cases there is enough registration, enough participant to the Connectathon floor. You know that there is a minimum number of vendors for actors in these profiles. And so it's very frustrating for companies that plan the attendance to the Connectathon and have no capability to test in reality. Plugathon is not substitute the Connectathon, but is a very good opportunity for this company that have found not enough participant for the Connectathon floor to test these profiles, in some cases against simulators, but also to make the right networking with other companies, with other users that are interested in this profile, because probably sometimes it's very difficult to starting from scratch, and having someone that could offer the experience in this part is very important. This is the goal, one of the goals of the Plugathon. Other questions or comments are welcome, of course, because also for us, it's the first year that we implement a so wide approach to the Plugathon. And so if you have some suggestion for us, it is very important. Okay, if there is no questions or comment, we have spent our 45 minutes for this town hall, and we will share with the community the link for the recording of this Plugathon. And as I said, we are promoting during the next week the Plugathon on the social media. And so if you have some questions that arise later, feel free to address this request to Arianna or to the other team of the Connectathon. Okay, thank you very much for your attention on the Friday afternoon. That is very important for us. And goodbye to everybody. And I hope to see you, a lot of people on the floor in Trieste, because the venue is very fantastic. We are very close to the seaside, and so from the Connectathon floor we see the sea, and it's very, very important for the mindset during the Connectathon. Bye bye to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.